Hello and welcome.
Hello, my name is Kaelee, and today we are going to be making some resin light bulbs. We're going to be using Culture Cast, which is the casting resin from Counterculture. This is a product I've made with my Culture Cast. This is just a pretty floral pyramid. You can see how nice and clear the casting resin is. I'm very excited for these light bulbs. I've tried the light bulbs before a couple times with medium viscosity. Pretty cool looking. This one has some flowers and some foil in it. I have this other one which is just glitter and different colors. The medium viscosity came out really pretty looking, but I'm really excited to do these with the Culture Cast for you all. I think we're going to get a lot clearer result, similar to how the pyramid came out. So Culture Cast, it's specifically developed for casting, so larger pours, and it is crystal clear by the time it dries. It does have a 24-hour dry time, and then it is completely cured in 7 days. So it produces a crystal clear cast in just 24 hours, and then max casting depth is 1.5 inches to 2 inches. So for this bulb, because we want to make sure we get a nice clear cast, we are going to pour up to the middle half first, and then in our second part we will do the second half, and then we will let it completely cure for our finished result. What I really think is really cool about Culture Cast, with most other brands, it's usually a 2-to-1 ratio. This is a 1-to-1 ratio, so it's super easy to work with. So you're gonna need Culture Cast. I'm just gonna do like a clear floral bulb, no glitter. And we're also going to use some flowers. We do need to adhere the flowers to our surface first. So I'm going to use just I'm not going to name the brand, it's just going to be a UV resin. Just because we need it to stick, and this will help it stick. We just use a tiny dab on our flowers just to get it to stick on there, and then it'll completely cure in the Culture Cast. That's what I've done for the flowers in here. It's what we're going to do in our bulb. This is a cast with glitter. You can see, even though it has glitter, it's still completely clear. It's really cool for catching the sun, and you get all these little spots all over your ceiling. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. Make sure you're wearing your PPE when working with any type of resin. Normally I have my exhaust fan and a respirator on, but for the sake of you being able to hear me, I am not going to today. I will be wearing gloves. That's always a piece of PPE I always recommend wearing. So we're going to put our gloves on, and we're going to start by pouring even parts, 1-to-1 ratio of Culture Cast. So because we're only doing half the bulb first, to make sure we get a nice clear result, we are only going to mix about 60 mLs of casting resin. We're going to start with 30 mLs of our first. Put that to the side so you don't accidentally pour 2 parts of the same. And now we're going to do 30 mLs of our second part. Okay, so we have our 60 mLs. And so what we're going to do first is, we're doing this first instead of placing the flowers first. That way, in case there's any chance of any bubbles, you give this a chance for them to rise to the top. But so we want to stir for 3 to 4 minutes, just very slowly. You can do in like a figure 8 just to avoid making bubbles. One thing I really love about this is I've been able to create some memorial pieces. This is really great for that, especially if you want to make like a paperweight for someone. I recently did a paperweight for a coworker with flowers from her husband's funeral so that she could keep them. And that's how I really got started using all of this. Just a great way to be able to do something a little different. You can see we're really taking our time, making sure it's all mixed well. I also like to scrape my stir to make sure I get any extra off there that could be needing to be mixed, and really scrape down those sides. I'm just using a silicone mixing cup and a silicone stirrer. I find that a thicker stirrer works better for the casting resin because it is the thinnest one of the thinnest resins aside from thin viscosity that you can use, and this is why your cast comes out so clear. You could always add like a touch of an ultra fine glitter if you want just a little bit of sparkle. Could even add a little bit of mica or the chroma flakes. However you want to personalize it, you can do that. It's really fun. If you wanted to do a colored bulb, you could add just the tiniest little touch of color to them. Okay, so this looks pretty well stirred. We're just gonna let it sit. There's a couple small bubbles here and there, and you just really want to make sure that they pop. So we're just gonna let that sit now for a couple minutes. So while we're letting that sit, we're going to put the flowers into our mold. So I have these little tweezers that came with my flowers. So now you just want to decide where you want your flowers. I have all my flowers face side up. That way I can see what they're gonna look like, and I can just put my little dab of my UV resin on there just so that it makes it easier for placement. You can pick different leaves, different flowers, anything you want. You're just putting just a little dab on there. You don't want a big glob, just a tiny little bit, just so that it has enough to stick. I have some little accent pieces with these little purple pieces here. Even some leaves. Your leaves don't have to be perfect either. Just pick whatever you'd like. And you want to carefully, without breaking your flower, try and put them into your mold. Stick them right where you'd like them. Oh, that one moved a little bit. I'm going to stick it right where you want it. Hold it there for a second. It might move a little bit. That's okay. That one didn't quite stick. I didn't have quite enough of the resin on there. That's okay. It'll hang out right where it's at. Sometimes you just gotta let them decide where they want to go themselves. Nothing wrong with that. Don't forget these. So these are real dried flowers. You can get them from a bunch of different places. You just gotta pick where you like them, what you like and where you can get them. And just stick it right into place, right where you want it. I try to pick more vibrant colors because the lighter colors tend to lose a little bit of their color in the process. Sometimes getting them right over that little ridge can be a little tough. You just do your best to place them where you want them and hold them into place so they stay there. If they float a little bit or move, that's okay. I just let them kind of go where they want. They're going to move around as you decide where you want everything anyways. Again, just holding it in place right where I want it. One thing you can also do if it helps, because this is a UV resin, just let it dry a little bit and then it'll completely stick in your mold, which helps. It's not necessary though. So whatever's going to help you keep them right where you want them. Just trying to keep them in place however possible is the best things. You can see these are being a little finicky, but that's okay. We're gonna add in some of our leaves. Kind of have to be careful adding them in. They're a little, because they're so big, sometimes they might try and break on you. Just do your best. Again, they're gonna try and do their own thing, and just let them. Sometimes I don't even like putting all my flowers in at once either. I like to do them in sections, or like adding just little accents of the little pieces once I pour my epoxy. I kind of have what I like, but what I'm going to do real quick is I have this little piece that I didn't use, but I really like these little accent pieces. So I'm just going to put a couple pieces in, and I'll do this with the second as well. With the second layer, because they're going to float around and do whatever they want. You just put them in, they add little accents of color, which is really nice. Even this little piece of leaf, I like this little one, it's kind of a full leaf. Whoops. So I'm going to pull off this piece and just kind of put it in there as well. It's all going to do its own thing. So now that this has been sitting, the bubbles kind of rose to the top. What I like to do is I like to spray just a tiny mist of alcohol, rubbing alcohol, just to pop those couple of extra bubbles to ensure that our cast is clear. Okay, so now we're going to pour. So we'll just pour. Remember, we're only doing to that halfway point. And now, so you can see where it's at. It's actually only about to here, but that's okay. We're gonna let it just do its own thing now. If I see a little bubble, I might just pop it. Just to get rid of it. I see a little bubble here, so I'm just gonna pop it. Okay. Other than that, it looks really nice and clear. We're just gonna let it do its own thing. Hi guys! We are back for our second pour. It's been a couple of hours, given enough time to cure a little bit so our flowers don't move. I'm just mixing up my second set of casting resin. So we'll be ready to pour in a couple minutes. We already have our flowers in. So once this is fully mixed, we will go ahead and pour our second part. Okay, so now our second batch is mixed up and ready to use. So now all we do is we simply pour it in. At this point, if you would like to add more flowers in, or any other pieces, you can certainly go ahead and do that. You just want to fill this all the way to the top. Once it settles a little bit, you want to have that little extra rim that's all the way up here at the top for the attaching pieces. So I pour this as high as I can go. To the point where I almost think I'm going to overflow it, and then I stop. And then that's all there is. So then we will come back for the unmolding. Hi everybody. So we are back for the demolding process. So there are two parts that go onto the bulb once it's done. This is a little battery and light that goes inside of it. And then this is just the top. So now we're going to just carefully demold. You're just going to gently start to peel back. These are a little tougher because they're pretty big. And they're pretty solid. You just take your time demolding it. I try to just roll it down. And it takes a little bit of time. But just be patient and it'll come out very nicely. Once you get to the thicker part of the bulb, you have to give a little more strength. Use those muscles. Just keep rolling it down. And there you have it. So now I'm going to turn out my light so that you can see what this looks like. Put the battery and the light in there. This piece just goes right on there. You just clip it right on. And you have the finished bulb. This casting resin is beautiful. You can see it has a nice effect to it. It's pretty clear. So I'm really loving this. And that's all there is to it. I hope you learned a lot. And I will see you on my next video. Alrighty guys, bye.